So I got to know about the workshop through Instagram. I've been following Photo South Asia for quite some time on Instagram, and I got to know about this workshop through one of their posts. So this project is something that I've been stagnant on for like over some 7-8 years now, because there was this strong emotional connect, and I was not able to proceed further with the workshop. I mean, with the work, like giving it shape or structure. And I thought it'll be nice to apply for this workshop, because this was very specific to image assembly and how you put pieces of images together. And also, one of the explorations that I was doing was mainly what constitutes a visual. Like, should camera be necessarily involved in the making of visual? So this project is solely or predominantly built around screenshots and online conversations. So do they work in the same way as photographs do, or what constitutes one is one of the other exploration through these projects? And also, I like the fact it was at a home setup that kind of broke the that invisible wall where you're little apprehensive of, is it approachable? But just having the whole workshop in a home setup, I think, broke that wall, and it made even the resource person Tanvi like very, very accessible and approachable. Like just the emotion that home carries as a space. And also we got to see a lot of photo books which were at Tanvi's library there at home. So there was a lot of discussions around the different ways books are made, and the structural differences in each of the books that aids in the contextual value of the project. So there's a lot of discussions on those, and also on how do we go about editing, and a little introduction about layouts and how spreads works and things. So it was very, very resourceful, to say the least, the 6 days. And yeah, definitely looking forward for the upcoming 3-4 months of what we'll be engaged with. So this workshop has been on from May and still going on. I think it's given us enough time to experiment as much as possible. And me personally, my process has been quite physical and analog, like physical act of making book. So the prolonged duration has given me enough time to produce dummies at each of the intervals as it is proceeded, and to have a prototype of a physical copy basically. And it has, like, I was able to make minor changes to each of the versions and see which were working and not, and why it was so. And it also gave us enough cushion for experimentation, rather than having a very breakneck pace where we have to hurry up and finish the work. This was a more of a reflective process, I would say. Yeah. What I've graduated was in visual communication, so there was a lot of focus on filmmaking, and predominantly the process of filmmaking is in 3 phases: the pre-production, the production, and the post-production. So, and I feel the same way in this. The initial months of a week in Delhi, and then the following online sessions were more of the pre-production, which kind of set the tone for how the books and each of the projects would proceed. And then the following current week was more of readying up for the production, which is printing in this case. And then what we're planning at the end of it, like the exhibition and the activation, would be the release in its own self. So I see it well paced out and properly planned. I mean, the expectation is fairly simple. It was to produce a photo book, or a book which deals with visuals basically. So that's been definitely met. And also just the fact that I get to see other 9 participants' work progressing, and since we've had like enough time, and each of the work in itself has taken different shapes, and the book, the physical copy, has taken multiple forms also. So that has given me a further understanding of how to tackle different stories and go about forming books, or turning them into objects as if need be. So yeah, it's the expectations have been met and overwhelmingly satisfied, and much more also. Like, there were a lot of physical aspects which I kind of enjoyed, and the visit to the printing press, which is, I mean, there are presses all around the city, but you don't get that much of access and approachability in terms of that. So yeah, it's been quite a good one. In terms of the editing, it's been a lot of experimentation, at least personally for me. I've been making different prototypes to see various forms of how I could approach the subject in terms of a book format. The first prototype that I made was a blank white page book where I stuck the images and then got the sequencing of it. And the second prototype, I tried to recreate those screenshots manually by typing them and positioning each of those elements that's involved in those visuals. And I had used gateway paper, a transparent sheet, as one of those inserts in that. And then I wanted to push the experiment further and make what if all of those pages in a book were transparent, and how would that stack up. So that was the third prototype that I had worked on. So just the fact that the whole structure of the workshop was not that hurried. I had the resources and also the time to put in the effort and the thought behind each of it. I mean, even though they are not major changes, it's not like an overhaul of the complete edit. There were these minor changes that I could focus on and understand than approaching it as a vague and holistic, in a very vague manner. So that's been helpful. And so having a physical object is always better to see how the photographs work in that specific medium, I feel so.